Good morning, everyone. I wasn't here yesterday because I had some stuff to take care of, but let's get to it. We got 8:30 a.m. and September 27th. This market's been very bearish, of course, and we're going to get into some things today that gives fr- gives some perspective on where we're at for the market. So let's get right into that daily chart of the SPY. Let's get right into that. Alrighty. So we're bottoming out here in the SPY. 2 days we can't really reach the lows of the 616 low of 362.17. So we're right here. All right, so that's what's been going on in the market. There's not a lot to glean. We're just very bearish, right? So let's look at the Qs. Now on the Qs, we're not as close to these lows, the 269.28 of June 16th. Okay, and yesterday we were stronger than the S&P, so we didn't go down to the lows on Friday. Okay, so that's some perspective on that. Now, just to give you some extra perspective, the Dow, if you look, check this out, the Dow, this is the 16 low. We've broke those lows on Friday, and we made new ones yesterday, 291 and a half. So the Dow is made new lows. Okay, that's very interesting, right? And then if we go to the Russell's lows of 616 was 162.78, so we're not quite there yet either. Okay, so let's go back to the SPY. Okay, and what I want to do next is let's look at where we possibly could go, right? Let's look at where we possibly could go. So this is a weekly chart. Okay, so what we have here in the weekly chart, we have a 200 moving average, and the 200 moving average is at 364.31. It's right here. So it's been rising. So like on the low of the 616, we didn't quite get there, right? But now it's rising and it's about 364.31. That could be a bounce point for the market. Okay, that almost comes up with this 355.33. Next support, next really good support is 327. Okay, but can we pierce, make a new low, and maybe we hit this either hit the 200 moving average 364.31, or we hit 355, and maybe we bounce a little bit. Okay, where can we go in the Qs, right? So in the Qs, interesting, we're at the 200 moving average now, 274.37. It kind of bounced off it on Friday. I'm not sorry, Friday, last week, and this week we're right on it. We're also on a key level support of weekly support at 269.28. Okay, next support in the Qs is 251.15. So very interesting. 200 moving average is right here. We're right on it in the Qs. All right, now let's look at some things that have definitely got my interest here. TNX, right? Look at that thing. This is just pretty crazy. This meteoric rise here hit a high here at 3.9 yesterday. But today, we're down 1.52% at 3.8. We're down, right? So maybe people started buying some bonds, or maybe the Fed, but bonds have been being bought, yields are rising, makes it almost like a good investment maybe to buy bonds. So we need to keep an eye on this. This is pretty crazy movement for bonds. That's pretty meteoric, right? Well, here's the other thing you need to look at is the dollar. Now the dollar made a high of 114.52 yesterday. That is a monster move. Okay? I think it hasn't been there since 1985. Let's see. Let me just see if that's true. Yeah. So this high of 121.02 was put in 2001. So 2001 it was at 121. All right. Still, the dollar is screaming, right? That's pretty crazy. That's why crude is falling, commodities are falling, everything's priced in the dollar. Gold, silver are going to be inverse to the dollar. Also, a high dollar is bad for equities. Okay? So, these are the things that are moving the market. Okay? Let's get into the futures. Okay. Well, a lot has gone on, but not a lot has gone on. Okay? We are in a bracket here. From this gap, I have a gap zone here. This box is a gap. Okay? So from that bottom of that gap to these lows has been what we've been doing in the overnights and the real-time sessions. Okay? We've moved value lower. That is bearish. Most traded price of the week, 3709.50. The most traded price of the week is 3709.50. Okay. Now, if you look at the profile, got some volume here, then we have the gap, push out some value here. Now, look, we probably need to taper out a little bit, and then maybe we move back. But I don't know. That's just profile. And to make this profile have some excess, it would go down to here probably. But we're trying to hammer at a bottom here for right now. I don't think this is the bottom, but we're definitely oversold. But anything can happen in this market. Okay. Oh, one other key piece too is the VIX is finally over 30. That's another piece of the puzzle. VIX is finally in the 30s again. So hence more volatility, right? More fear. So that's the bracket, right? So right now, price is at 37.23 in the futures. We're up 1.45% in the ES. We're up 1.7% in the Nasdaq. Okay, we're still in this bracket, right? We haven't taken these levels out. We haven't filled the gap. We haven't even went into the gap in the ES. Okay, but this is the this here and this here is the key. Those are the key levels. Okay, let's look at the Qs. Not as perfect balance as the ES, okay? Because yesterday they filled the gap, came up, right? So you don't have that clean bracket like you do in the ES. However, in the Nasdaq, we also brought value lower. 104. Let's see, 11,400 is now the most traded price. Okay, that's bearish. That's very bearish. And we have weak lows here. These are equivalent lows here, so those are weak now. Okay, and we are at 11,500 right now. Price is right here at 11,500. Top of the range of the overnight, right? But this is the RTH high yesterday, RTH low. We're within the session, so like we need to break these highs and need to break the lows. It's pretty much that's what needs to happen today. Okay. Let's go over to the 60-minute futures chart. We'll look at ES first. All right, so here's the double low here, 36.58.75. That's obviously the support level. Okay, the resistance level is 37.28.50. This is our bracket we're in. Okay, this is gonna decide what we do. Do we have a bear market rally if we break this? Or do we continue lower and make new lows? That's the key. That's really the thing I'm looking at. There's not much else to this market right now. Okay, so those are the levels: 37.28 resistance, 36.58 support. Okay, and we're inching towards breaking this level, but we have to see. Also have the gap here. Okay, ES has not filled that gap yet. Okay, let's look at the Nasdaq. So the Nasdaq, okay, a little different story, but we have some strong levels here. Okay, so 115, I'm sorry, 11,501 has been resistance. Okay, we've come up to it, broke it a little bit yesterday, fell back, and then it's been resistance overnight. We need to break that, and we need to break 115, I'm sorry, 11556, and ultimately 11,600. So there are three pretty powerful resistances there. Okay, but if we break it, could we get that bear market rally that we need? Not what we need, that could happen, right? And the key support level right now is 11,285. Okay, a lot of support right there. And then the double low here, support is 112.34 right here. Okay, however, let's get down to just the basics here. These three levels, if we can crush through those, you're getting a bear market rally. If we break this low of 120, 112.85, then we're going to test at 112.34, and then we could get lower prices. Okay, that's really what the market is today and for the rest of the week. Okay, so my scenarios today would be very simple today. Go into that we'll go into the zoomed in profile chart for that. All right, so I talked about the brackets, and you can see clearly my levels are on the brackets of the market profile, right? So price is at the highs of the overnight right now. Okay, we're almost at the RTH highs. They're threatening to break it, right? Which it hasn't been able to do. So very simple here, right? Now again, we don't open till 45 minutes from now, so maybe we break it here, right? But the main thing is this, okay? It's gonna be very simple. Most trader price is 37.0950, right? This is key to hold this level. Even if we come down, if we hold this level, it gives a good shot that we can break the 37.2850 resistance, okay? And then this gap here is not going to have much resistance. We could just pop right up, and maybe we go to 37.72. There's a supply zone here, okay, and key level, okay. Obviously, we could also, same thing. We could open, pop up into the gap, find resistance, come back, balance here, break this level 36.9050, and we go towards the lows again, and either we bounce up or we make new lows. And then finally, we could, one or two things, obviously, come up into the gap and balance. And this is a balance scenario, or we come up, come all the way back down. Now there's a demand zone here, pierce that low and come up and balance again. So that's more of a balancing scenario, what we've already been doing, right? And there's a lot of Fed speak this week. There's Fed members speaking all week. Okay. It's also month end this week. So could we balance again? We could. But we need to break these levels in this bracket. And if we can't, okay, I've said this before. This is our bracket, right? Here and here in the ES. Can't get above, you want to fade, you want to short that. Okay, you come down here, can't go lower, you want to go long, you want to fade the edges, okay? But if they're broken, they're broken, and then there's the breakouts happening, right? Okay, not going to be any different in the Nasdaq. Okay, bracket right here, there's our playground. Nasdaq's also at the highs of the overnight. Okay, so these two levels are important. Okay, again, we can come up, find some, this is supply zone, so we can find some resistance here. But if we pop up, we could go up to 111,700 into this demand, this supply zone up here. Okay, now if we stay in the bracket, that meaning we open, come up here, find resistance, and then we can come down here, pop up a little bit. We could definitely bounce off here, come right back to this demand zone, and one or two things happens. We break and go lower, or we find buyers and we balance off here. And then lastly, I talked about in the ES, okay, we're basically gonna, come up. If we fail, you short. If we come down, we can't make new lows, you go long. And we're gonna balance at the most traded price of the week. Okay. So it's either today is, are we gonna continue to balance, or are we gonna break out of those levels in both ES and Nasdaq? Okay. What are we gonna do? I don't know. But we're in a very high volatile market right now. Okay. So I'm gonna leave you guys with one last thing, but I thought was kind of interesting. Give me 1 second here. All right. Now, one thing that I've noticed here, okay, in the markets is interesting of relative strength, okay, in some stocks that we can go over, okay. And if you notice, every low you're going to see here is from June 16th. Now, this is Apple. Apple's at 150. So just think about that. This is when we were super bearish. Apple went all the way down to 129. And it's here now. But the markets are back to the lows. That's some serious strength, right? Look at snow. Snow, what? It's at 165. It was at 110. Tesla was at 206. Tesla's at 276. Amazon was at 101. Amazon's at 115. Okay. Netflix is another one. 162. It's at 224. Now, you got some weak guys, okay? Nvidia. It's making new lows now. AMD making new lows now. Google, new lows now. Meta, new lows now. And the one that's a little surprising to me is Microsoft. New lows now. Okay. So thought that was very interesting that, like, man, some of these stocks that were that bearish now, but we're not even close to the lows of June 16th of those individual stocks. Thought that was pretty interesting. I can look at when I look at these gauges of the top sectors. This is also what we can look at here. See some of these. Okay, let's look at Roblox. Roblox is pretty relatively strong, right? Had a low of 21. It's at 35. Disney, the communication sector has been hammered, but Disney's actually low was 90. We're at 98. Qualcomm's pretty equal. We got some energy stock here in Exxon. Now look at CAT, industrial sector. It's making new lows. Salesforce, new lows. Visa's new lows. Okay. Home Depot, about the same. JP Morgan, about the same. UPS, new lows. Goldman Sachs still higher. Costco not even close to the lows, 406. Twitter is actually higher. Okay. Walmart's higher. That's a staple. AbbVie, United Healthcare is also higher. Johnson and Johnson. Johnson and Johnson actually has made new lows. And then Procter and Gamble. That's a recession-proof stock, so that's not at the lows. But you get the gist of what I'm showing you guys. There's just it's all over the place. Some are weak like the market, some aren't. Right? Very interesting. And I'll leave you one last one. All right, I'll leave you with one last one. Good old Vix Curve, just to show you guys. We are inverted. The red line's above the blue right now. Okay, this could go higher. This could go higher, but when the red reaches over the blue, you're basically in full fear mode. Okay, this could go higher and for longer. Doesn't mean it's the bottom, but definitely fear is growing. Okay, but when this reverts, expect the bear market rally. Okay, when that reverts, just like over here, right? Red's over the blue. As soon as we started to revert, look at the market. Boop, pop. So we'll have to keep a look on that. That's it for me today. Hopefully this was insightful for you guys today. There's a lot going on in the market. So just like I said in the indexes before, do we stay in the bracket or do we break out? That's the question today. So everybody stay green today. Hopefully everybody had a good trading day. Please share with other people, other traders. Give me a like, comment if you have any questions. Always set that alarm for when you guys know I'm coming out live. And have a good day. I'll see you guys tomorrow.